Good evening. It is Monday night, and it's time for us to read the Bible. And tonight we're going to read Genesis chapter 25. I hope y'all have stayed warm today. It's been kind of cold. It is warming up though, but I will say this: I saw on James Spann's, here I go. I saw on James Spann's page that there are predictions for pretty heavy ice coverage over the weekend, and I'm not sure exactly what parts of Alabama it was talking about, but it was mentioning some of it, so it's probably worth looking into. And I will remind you some of the same things he reminded you. Make sure you've got your blankets that you may need. Make sure you've got a way to stay warm if you lose power. Now, I'm fortunate enough that I have gas heat and gas stove, so I can cook and stay warm. And I guess if it's that cold and things start thawing out, I can just stick them outside in the ice. But I don't think we're going to have that kind of problem. But it doesn't hurt to do things like that. And I will tell you, I used to try to keep candles at the house, but I could never find them when I needed them. So this is what I have done. Went to Radio Shack, it's Frost Brothers now, and bought a power bank, and it's about the size of a deck of cards, and you charge it, and then it's charged, and then you can plug your phone or whatever you need to into that, and it charges your devices. I also have and I got this at Harbor Freight. It's a light that's about that big. Excuse me. And it's rechargeable. And it's a regular flashlight, or you can use it to flash, like for emergency flashers. Well, it's also, because it's rechargeable, it has a way to plug your device into there, so then you have that way to charge your devices. And then I also have a big flashlight that I got at Walmart that's like a spotlight that is rechargeable, and I make sure that I keep that charged. And you can always pick up the little outside, the little solar powered, the little things you stick in the ground, the little lantern looking things. Those are fairly effective. I've seen them in packs at like Dollar General for like $8, and they're on a little stem. And if you can get those charged, sit them outside during the day and let them charge, and then at night you've got power if you need it. And those are pretty effective, especially if you use them in front of them. It's like shine them into a mirror, and of course that magnifies the amount of light. There's a lot of ways around losing power, but the main thing is that you're able to stay warm. So and this may not happen, but it still doesn't hurt to be prepared. And also, I've said this before, please check on your neighbors, especially elderly neighbors, or neighbors who might need a little extra. When I had the coffee shop, I used to tell people, I would go up if we had power outages. I would go up to the shop, and if the power was on up there, people were welcome to come in, and I would have coffee on, and they could come in and stay as long as they needed to, charge their phones or whatever. So if you've got the ability to do that, that's an awfully nice thing to do to help take care of your neighbors. James was also saying, make sure at the very least you have 3 days of any medicines that are required, and food and water, which you can buy cases of water. I tend not to do that, but I have several gallons of water drawn up that I can use, like to bathe with or whatever, but probably wouldn't want to drink it. But anyway, just some things to think about to be prepared. So anyway, let's read Genesis chapter 25. Abraham's death and his descendants. Abraham took another wife, whose name was Keturah, Now, most people don't even think about that. They think Abraham had Isaac and that was the last that he did. She bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Medan, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan fathered Sheba and Dedan. The sons of Dedan were Ashurim, Letushim, and Leuman. The sons of Midian were Ephah, Epher, Hanok, Abida, and Eldah. All these were the children of Keturah. Abraham gave all he had to Isaac, but to the sons of his concubines Abraham gave gifts, and while he was still living he sent them away from Isaac, his son Isaac, eastward to the east country. And I have a note that says to make sure that they could be successful on their own, but away from comparison to Isaac, which was, if that's the reason he did it, that was a smart reason. These are the days of the years of Abraham's life. 175 years. Abraham breathed his last and died in a good old age, an old man and full of years, and was gathered to his people. Isaac and Ishmael, his sons, buried him in the cave of Machpelah in the field of Ephron, the son of Zohar the Hittite, east of Mamre, the field that Abraham had purchased from the Hittites. There Abraham was buried with Sarah his wife. After the death of Abraham, God blessed Isaac his son, and Isaac settled at Beer Lahai-roi. These are the generations of Ishmael, Abraham's son, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's servant, bore to Abraham. These are the names of the sons of Ishmael, named in the order of their birth. Now that's the first time I've noticed that said. Normally you think, well, they've named the sons in the order they were born, but this specifies this is the order they were born. Nebalath, the firstborn of Ishmael, and Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Mishma, Dumah, Massa, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedemah. These are the sons of Ishmael, and these are their names by their villages and by their encampments, 12 princes according to their tribes. These are the years of the life of Ishmael, 137 years. He breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people. They settled from Havilah to Shur, which is opposite Egypt in the direction of Assyria. He settled over against all his kinsmen. And then the next section is titled The Birth of Esau and Jacob. These are the generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham fathered Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah, the daughter of Bethuel the Aramean of Padanaram, the sister of Laban the Aramean, to be his wife. And Isaac prayed to the Lord for his wife, because she was barren. And the Lord granted his prayer, and Rebekah his wife conceived. The children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it is thus, why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other, the older shall serve the younger. When her days to give birth were completed, behold, there were twins in her womb. The first came out red, all his body like a hairy cloak. So they called his name Esau. And afterward his brother came out with his hand holding Esau's heel. So his name was called Jacob. Esau was 60 years old when she bore them. Now I believe I read somewhere that Jacob's name meant supplanter, which means to take the place of another, or to put somebody aside to get to their place. When the boys grew up, Esau was a skilled hunter, a man of the field, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents. Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. And okay, let me get to this next section. Esau sells his birthright. Once, when Jacob was cooking stew, Esau came in from the field, and he was exhausted. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I am exhausted." Therefore his name was called Edom, which means red. Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright now." Esau said, "I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and drank and rose and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Now I've got a note over here that says Esau was dramatic. He wasn't starving. He could have gotten food from anywhere in the camp, but he chose to come to Jacob. So it's the fault is on both of them. I know if you've ever had teenagers, you know sometimes they will come in and eat like they haven't had anything in about a week. They will fight, and just when our boys were at home and teenagers, it was nothing for us to go through we would go to Sam's and buy the big double boxes of cereal, because it was nothing for us to go through 3 or 4 gallons of milk and 3 or 4 boxes of cereal in a week. And that was breakfast, but then they would come in after school and have a snack. And we also kept other things. I mean, we tried to keep plenty of things for them to eat, frozen burritos and the frozen pizzas and stuff like that. So when they came in, they could get something to eat to keep them from passing out from hunger until it was time to eat supper. But we all know teenagers, especially boys, can be dramatic, and that's what this sounds like to me. But then Jacob took advantage of Esau's drama, so to speak, and said, "I'm not going to give you any soup unless you sell me your birthright." And his birthright is just what it sounds like. Because he was the firstborn, he had the right to either inherit all or the big majority of his father's belongings. And you know, Abraham was very rich, and Isaac got all of that. So Esau stood to inherit a whole lot. So this wasn't just like an old dented pot and a spoon. This was lots of stuff, and all of that, he threw all of that away for a bowl of soup. So it was on both of them to be held responsible for that. And Joseph was the trickster. He almost makes me think of the character Loki in the Avengers movies, because he's all the time trying to pull something over on somebody. And as you will see as we go on through this, that's just how he is. He's a trickster. But that is the end of chapter 25, and of course over the next few chapters we're going to see more about how they do one another, how Isaac and Rebekah and Esau and Jacob live together, and the things they do and the trouble they get into. This would make a good plot for a TV show. But anyway, thank y'all for joining me tonight. I hope y'all have a great day tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow night.